Any burning questions that our speakers can shed light on? David.
David King, I have a question for Dr. Malik. These manuscripts which we show, they're all dead. Most of them have been forgotten. We try to revive them a bit. But the best way to revive them is to put a date on them, and put a provenance on them, recognize the copyist, and love the author and publish them. Now, I have no idea about the manuscripts of Ibn al-Haytham, but do you know offhand how many there are?
Of Ibn al-Haytham,
Yeah.
of the optics?
And where they come from?
Right. So there are very few. There are very few manuscripts, and the only ones, there is no complete set, because there's 7 books.
Mm-hmm.
And the earliest ones are very near to his time of death, believed to have been transcribed by his relative, probably his son-in-law.
Mm-hmm.
This is all speculative, but this is... so written probably within 20 years of his death. But that manuscript is missing books 4 and 5, I think, and you just have that one before the production of the revision the text that I've been talking about at the beginning of the 14th century, and the other manuscripts that survive of Ibn al-Haytham's optics post-date that date, and all the manuscripts are in Istanbul, and so I think that certainly there are many more manuscripts and they were much more widely circulated, as I alluded to, perhaps not, I didn't make it clear, of the revision itself. And interestingly, and that's, I started off by saying that what is interesting, I think, is that one, you have a long gap between, over 200 years before we see any evidence of any sustained study on the optics, and this is the first author that we know of that that survives, that you have a very detailed study of it. But more interestingly, actually, given the fact that this text of the revision was much more widely circulated, because there's about 17 manuscripts that survive, and they've been found in many different places. The fact that people knew of, having studied this work, you still don't see post that time any sustained study of the optics. And as I said, that Ibn al-Haytham's optics is only studied through the medium of the revision. And this is what I was trying to say, that because the optics is really not very well represented in detail in this text, that makes the task quite a challenge. In fact, one of the people who tried to do this was mentioned earlier by Professor Ehsanoğlu, is Taqiyuddin, who produced it. But he used, although it may appear that he's used the text of the Kitab al-Manazir, he's actually using the Tanqih in order to draw work from. I think this is, I haven't done this work, but this is the conclusion that the late Professor Sabra came to. Does that answer your question? No, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Sorry.
When you say you found them in this library or that manuscript there, I'm interested in the ultimate provenance of these manuscripts. You answered the question about the early ones.
Yeah.
But take any manuscript from the British Library, it may come from anywhere.
Yeah.
But the nature of the handwriting and the nature of the paper and various clues exist for saying, okay, that manuscript is Egyptian, that manuscript is Yemeni, and so on. And I'm interested in the distribution
of the
manuscripts.
Kitab al-Manazir. Well, the Kitab al-Manazir, what apparently is something to note, which you may be interested in, is that books 4 and 5, which are missing from the original 11th century set, that although they're post 14th century, they're the only ones that have been produced that have been written in a Maghribi hand. The others have not. So, I mean, I'm sure you'll find that of interest.
Yes, indeed.
Good.
My own dissertation years ago was an Egyptian text written in the Maghribi hand.
Yeah, okay.
And what I learned only later was that the Maghribis were doing a lot of copies in Cairo in the 13th, 14th centuries.
Ah, okay.
And so there's nothing to do with the Maghrib. They were in Cairo.
Okay, so that, as you say, it doesn't explain geography, but it does explain the perhaps ethnic quote unquote origin of whoever was doing the copying.
That's what makes it so much fun.
Sorry.
I think this discourse can continue over coffee. I'm going to actually draw a line there and end the session. So if you could thank our speakers, please.
Thank you.